for coming this evening, folks. Been a busy night tonight. Busy night when we actually finalized the agenda for finance. And we're trying to move things along as best we possibly can. Visitors? Pat?
Yes, sir.
You can't hand anything out.
Okay. That's not my name. Hey, good evening. Phil Sengle, James Vincent Drive. I wasn't here when you had the workshop on the police budget. Of course, I've talked to, I think, everybody since, but I just wanted to recap our position. Some things have probably changed a little bit, especially in commission thinking. And if there's any misconceptions out there, I just want to clear them up. I just want you to know that the commission concurs that we will put off promotions as long as possible. It was never our intent to promote anybody immediately, unless that was out there. We're going to work with the bargaining unit on assumption of many collateral duties as possible in the interim. If this is successful, it will provide some help, but overtime costs are likely to result. It is unclear how many patrol shifts such a person could actually fill while handling admin duties. That's to be determined. I would just note that the admin duties we've been discussing with all of you are not discretionary and cannot be deferred. They have to be done. As a note on admin staffing, I want to let you know that a surrounding town survey was completed of 3 PDs, and I think I shared it with most of you, which revealed that there's 4 to 5 persons assuming admin roles, some of them are civilians, in those departments compared to the 3 in Clinton. That summary I gave to Mr. Fritz today.
What about Wendy, though?
Huh?
Isn't Wendy part of it?
We don't talk to you.
That particular position was not counted in the other departments' totals. So I didn't count it for them and I didn't count it for us, so it's apples to apples, best I can determine. The reality is, if we get any more retirements in the near-term situation, the situation regarding staffing will obviously get worse and possibly critical. One suggestion I have and a request I have to ask is that the Board of Education pick up a significant portion of the school resource officer costs, as has been done in other towns. While it is all town money, as I've been reminded many times, it may be easier to draw funds for this position from a larger budget. If this can be accomplished, we would request that the approximate $31,000 removed from one of our salary lines be replaced to provide some cushion to the police department. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, anybody else? I know you've got something on Mr. Carr. Mayor, did you distribute that?
Did you distribute the, no?
No, we went to Joan today, so.
Right. Anyway, first of all, I'd like to concur with Mr. Sengle that the SRO should be included in the school budget for a variety of reasons, including the fact that it would be counted toward the minimum budget requirement. And with the large surpluses of the last 2 years, even after budgets have been defeated, asking for another $1 million is, I agree with Selectman Giannotti that that's inappropriate at this time.
Anything? No? Okay. There we go. Please, and the sheets you have in front of you, the new sheets. All right, here. These are the ones I just did a little while ago because Todd met with Angela to revise because there's some people that hit milestones within the department contractually that they got bumps that weren't reflected in the last salary projections.
So wait, what did you just say? Contractually, what?
They have their
The
bumps.
numbers were wrong last time.
Yeah, the salary numbers were off because, and I had mentioned at the last meeting, and it was right after Angela's father passed away. She wasn't here. And I said to Todd, the chief, that he had to sit down with Angela, go over the different bumps that occurred contractually.
Are you talking about the contract that goes back to July
They get
1st
patrolman grade 1 to
2013?
2 to 1, and sergeant 2 to 1,
Wait.
corporal 2 to 1, 1 to 2.
So you're talking about progression through the ranks?
Yeah.
Or you're talking about
That's progression.
the
new
contract that is waiting?
But
to
that's
be-
already here. I already projected out, and we'll see
What happens Friday?
Friday when they vote on it. But in this right now are what we TA'd on, the union and the negotiating team. We
What's TA?
tentatively agreed on.
Okay,
Thanks,
all right.
before
that's what I wanted to
Thanksgiving.
know. Okay.
That 2.1%, 2.20, and 2.1 are reflected in here.
Are you saying 2 years, 2.1 and 2.0?
2.0 and then 2.1.
Okay.
Right, that's in here. And then beyond that, there are the progression through the ranks as far as sergeant 2 to 1, 1 to 2, 6 to 7.
Okay, so that's all accounted for on this sheet?
Right.
Okay.
With still, you're saying I get me confused, oh boy, killing me.
Well, you know, we're a year late on signing that contract,
Yeah.
and it's only a 2-year contract.
It'll be a year by the
So
time.
why don't we start the next contract right now?
We may be in arbitration in 1 week, so who knows. So anyway, so other than all the proposed changes that I threw out a couple weeks ago, and I'm still holding on to the thought, and I don't want to say it, there's a time period written in stone as to how long the hold off of a promotion to a major is, this and that, but I think the prudent thing to do is to hold off the moving up of personnel until such a point that we have either it's somebody that's gonna replace the major that we just approved his retirement today. If we can get it pre-certified, then you got somebody closer to getting boots on the ground. Or if we have to wait till we almost have a guy out of the academy to get boots on the ground, so that we're not making it a situation that we have that we all know. And I don't think there's anyone can argue with the situation with the overtime because of the injuries and this and that. Worse, by pulling guys out of the rotation to promote them to a position where they're not helping it, they're just, there's less bodies to rely upon to actually do the work of a police officer, which is, as we hear and we've heard and we've seen, it impacts the staff as far as morale. It obviously costs our budget, and my recommendation still is to hold off as long as we can so we get closer or get somebody on the ground, another body on the ground before those administrative positions are filled. And I would say in the interim, and it was suggested by the chief, and I agree, that possibly a committee with commission members, selectmen, finance, and obviously somebody from the admin side of the department be formed to look at the overall structure, an independent review of that. So that's all I'm saying.
Very good. So I'll go with option 2 then?
Yeah, I mean, that's option 2.
Questions?
That sounds good.
Recommendation?
Right. Which the number did change from the last time because, again, of the salaries, and I can touch on you with there is a sergeant that gets a bump that's going from the 71,495 to the 77,072. Okay, that's a bump because of this grade change. There are 2 patrolmen that are getting a bump from the 61,441 to the 65,918. There's another patrolman that's getting the bump from the 52,642 to the 63,680. And then because of the new contract, if it passes, that bottom end patrolman would go to 57,042. And then in the clerical union, and that was an oversight by Ange, with their contract, which there is a contract, that position, and she hits a milestone also, which is the records clerk, goes to 3314 from 28,175. Okay, so those are reflected in the new sheets that I just passed out. I just did those a little while ago.
Hey, Lloyd,
Yes?
can we put a just to make a mental note, when you look at the structure of the PD, this thought of maybe having the Board of Ed pay for the SRO, so that, I mean, is that just something?
And we should bring the superintendent into that discussion when we get to that
When we
point.
get to that point, when we start reviewing it, because then that would give us, the person that we're paying for.
No, I understand. You know, and
All
I,
year and
Percentage.
and
I mean, it's just something to think about.
it is, but it isn't, because again, and that comes up all the time, and, you know, they could pay for it, but they still work for the police chief, and the police department, and the police commission. The money still comes from my pocket, your
No, I
pocket,
know. I know.
everybody
It's
else,
hard to say
everybody's
something.
pocket in the room, whether they're working in the Board of Ed budget or the town budget, so it's really semantics, it's, all right, can we hide it more in the $32 million budget, or in the, you know, it doesn't, yeah, you can, but,
Yep.
no, I know
But
you
it would be a
can.
9-month position, and then we'd be paying a patrolman for the, you know, for full-time.
So round numbers, 9 months of,
And it would.
9 months of 50, so 45,000 would go in the Board of Ed budget,
It
and then,
would be a more focused position, and you could pull in, I don't, it's just
I don't
something to think about.
I thought he agreed to that.
a couple of years ago was the overtime, it was 17,000. The overtime that was gonna be created, because we were short-staffed, the overtime that was created by the SRO, there was an agreement to put 17,000 from the Board of Ed towards that
Okay.
SRO.
Because we're gonna look at overall structure of PD.
I think that's something that
I'd
maybe
like
that
to
can be, but I think I wanna do that, if not at the next meeting, put a committee together.
Yeah, I
Police
think we
commission
should have a
recommends a
committee.
member or two, let's just do it, let's get going. Because every time, and it's an inevitable, every time, and it's happened more frequently the last several years, that an admin position is vacated, and it's through attrition, the discussion comes up about what do we need as far as admin in the department. And unless everybody, it's not just the police committee, everybody has to get their hands around it and grasp it and understand it. So this banter doesn't go back and forth all the time, which it does. Okay?
We've already retained Larry Ouellette to make
There
our
you go.
argument.
That commission,
Please,
don't let him. We'll have to go to a convention center.
You can't afford that.
We'll have to go sleeping overnight there.
We'll be bringing sleeping bags right into the room.
No worries. All right, police commission, police budget, okay, going with that. Mayor, we're going with that.
Yes.
Do you get my new sheet?
No, but are these they?
Here.
These,
Okay. Animal control,